Historical notes. The name. The name San Giovanni in Marignano is a toponym composed of two parts: San Giovanni, that refers to San Giovanni Battista in Castelvecchio church, the first church in the village dating back to the first half of the 12th century, and Marignano, that is an ancient rural property dating back to the late Roman period. The origins. The origins of San Giovanni are strictly connected to the development of Valle del Conca. This valley has been inhabited since the Paleolithic, when some of the most important civilizations, as the Umbrians, the Pisans, the Sanuans, and later the Sabines, settled there. In the 4th century, the Romans replaced them and founded some colonies, such as Ariminum, along the present Via Flaminia, thus dividing the land into centuries. Castelvecchio and Castelnuovo. The present settlement is the consequence of a new foundation of the built-up area that took place in the second half of the 13th century in the plain and near the Ventena River. This was possible thanks to the Benedictines of Monte Cassino, who digged up and reclaimed the soil and began a farm renewal. The new settlement was called Castelnuovo to distinguish it from Castelvecchio, the early one. The original urban plan of Castelvecchio is regular. It is based on the central street, Via di Mezzo, the new settlement longitudinal axis, that is the present Via 20 Settembre. The first walled settlement of the new castle dates back to about 1280, but it was restructured several times in the course of time. The Malatesta Signoria. In the 15th century, Rimini territory was ruled by the Malatesta Signoria, who handled lands that were controlled by the church. Between 1438 and 1442, Sigismondo Pandolfo Malatesta, Lord of Rimini, reorganized the territory defenses. In this occasion, he equipped San Giovanni in Marignano with new city walls that were more effective than the 13th century ones. The new walls were defended by the Ventena stream and composed of 6-8 keeps and 2 portal towers. They included a direct lifting drawbridge. At the height of their power, the Malatesta court in Rimini was into contact with the great European courts, and Sigismondo Pandolfo was in a position to summon the most important contemporary intellectuals, such as Filippo Brunelleschi. According to documents of the period, the artist visited several Malatesta castles, San Giovanni included, to restore and renew the 13th century defenses. The 14th century walls could seem too grand if related to San Giovanni's settlement that is in a plain besides. But it was necessary because San Giovanni had to defend the wheat that was stocked under the castle. As a matter of fact, San Giovanni in Marignano was one of the capital cities of the Malatesta state, together with Cesena, Cervia, Senigallia, and Fano, and it was called the breadbasket because of its cereal production that was stocked in more than 200 underground silos located on the main street, Via di Mezzo. From 16th to 19th century. From the period of its new foundation to the 16th century, San Giovanni Marignano was directly or indirectly influenced by Rimini life and historical events. In the 16th century, a period of slump and depression was caused by struggles among the Malatesta family, the Republic of Venice, and the Church. This period was to end only in 1529, when Romagna, San Giovanni included, passed under the Church's direct control. The Church was to rule this area till 1859, the years from 1797 to 1814 excluded because of a short Napoleonic period. In the 19th century, thanks to migrations from the neighboring villages and from the coast, we remarked the birth of two villages along the Castlemaine Road. The two villages developed beyond the two entrance towers. San Antonio Village was named after the church of the same name. The church lodged the Celestine Fathers Monastery and was already known in the 15th century. At present, it lodges the Maestre Pie della Dolorata nuns. School Village was already shaped around the market square in the 18th century, and it was bounded by the municipal towers on one side and by the Blessed Virgin of the Graces Church on the other one, this latter known as St. Lucy Church. The 20th century. During the last decades of the Pope rule and during the first years of the new reign of Italy, Mazzini and Garibaldi's ideas found their loyal supporters in San Giovanni in Marignano too. A lot of the inhabitants took part into the rural revolts in 1913. Then there was the First World War and its victims, the post-war period and the fascism rise to power, and the Second World War directly involving San Giovanni, that is along the Gothic line. The period after the Second World War was very difficult for San Giovanni. It was still a rural village. The reconstruction was not easy. People were without a job, and they began to migrate to Switzerland and Germany. The real recovery was only in the 50s, when bathing tourism developed, thus stopping the migration and increasing craft. In the late 60s, this new reality, together with an entrepreneurial spirit, led to the building of a new craft areas near to the A14 highway toll gate. San Giovanni was no longer a migration place. Thanks to its craft production, mainly fashion and shipbuilding, it had become an immigration site.